everyone, it's Jessie. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a 10-book book haul of the books that I got on my recent trip to Washington, D.C. I was super excited since it was my first time ever to go to Washington, D.C. So every time when I travel places, I try my best, if I have time, to find bookstores. And I found 2 on this trip, which I'm super excited to share the books that I got there with you all. So without further ado, let's jump right into this video. So the first bookstore that I went to, I don't really remember what it's called, but I will write it right here. And if you watch my Washington DC vlog, it's in there, so I will link that down below as well. But I went to this amazing independent bookstore and I got a huge stack of books there, and I swear this independent bookstore was probably one of the best ones I went to. And I went with my dad as well, and he agreed, and we could not stop talking about it because we were in there for maybe like 2 hours browsing their shelves because they had so many books that we both wanted. They had the world's best selections. If I ever go back to DC, I'll be sure to go there. So the first book I got was Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which I actually read on my plane ride home from Washington, D.C. This book I would kind of describe as Heroes meets X-Men meets the Joker and Harlequin. That's how I described it to my friend Kaden. So this is my very first V.E. Schwab book that I've ever read, and it was so good. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. So I definitely recommend it if you are one of those people who like superhero stories. It's called East City Bookshop. I have the receipt in one of my books right here. So yes, if you're ever in Washington, D.C., go to East City Bookshop on 645 Pennsylvania Avenue, Suite 100. Definitely go there. It's amazing. Now, the second book I got from that bookstore is Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Rae Carson. I have been wanting this book for so long, ever since I read Vengeance Road by Erin Bauman. This book is also about the Gold Rush era, as is Vengeance Road by Erin Bauman. So ever since I read Vengeance Road, which is a Western novel, I've been wanting to read a little more Western since that book was incredible. So I've been meaning to pick this up for so long, but I'm not a fan of paperback. By the time I had enough money to go out and afford to buy a copy of it at Barnes & Noble, no Barnes & Noble around me had the hardcover, so I was super excited when I saw one last copy in the East City Bookshop. I was definitely sure to pick it up, and I can't wait to read this soon. I feel like my voice sounds really weird. I'm probably getting sick because everybody in my family is sick and Carmen was sick, so yay, I'm probably getting sick. Okay. The next book I got was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, because I have been hearing about this book pretty much ever since it came out, which I don't even know when. There's been so much hype around this book for so long, and Kaden just recently read it and she's been telling me to read it. The reason I've been waiting off to buy this book for so long was because I wanted the hardcover, but when I saw it in the East City Bookshop in paperback, I just finally caved in and picked it up because I haven't been able to find the hardcover anywhere. Plus, I like supporting independent bookstores rather than Amazon, because I know Amazon's gonna stay in business, but we still have to keep those independent bookstores alive. So that's why all the books I wanted supported that bookstore. And I didn't need more books, but I was supporting an independent business. That's a rational enough reason to buy books, right? And the last book I got from the East City Bookshop was The Hired Girl by Laura Amy Skiltz. And when I read the synopsis for this book, it sounded really good for me. I don't really remember. It's sort of about this girl who I believe was in like the lower class of society, like she's a maid or something, and she'd always dreamed about finding real love like she read in the novels. And so she wrote all her hopes and dreams in this diary, and I believe some other stuff happens. I don't really remember because I read the synopsis a week ago, and I've read many books since then. It sounded good when I got it, the ratings were good, so that's why I picked up this book. Plus, I really like this sort of era in historical fiction. Okay, so the next 4 books I got at an amazing used bookstore that is actually right around the corner, 1 block over from the East City Bookshop. So the first book that I got from there was Everyone Brave is Forgiven by Chris Cleave. And this is actually an ARC. I've found quite a few ARCs in this used bookstore, and I actually have the hardcover of this book. My dad bought it a little while ago and he read it and absolutely loved this book, and he just said that the writing was very poetic and beautiful. So I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and when I saw the ARC in the used bookstore, I thought that the art cover was so pretty and that it's an ARC, and I like collecting ARCs. The next book I got was another ARC, and it's called Alice I Have Been by Melanie Benjamin. And this book actually came out in 2009, so I'm pretty sure I would have never heard of it otherwise unless I found it in this used bookstore. And what really intrigued me, beside it being an Alice in Wonderland retelling, was the cover. It It was just so pretty. It had really good ratings on Goodreads, and it has to do with Alice in Wonderland, so that's why I got it, and I'm excited to hopefully read it soon. The next book is kind of a book that I just picked up right next to the cash register in this used bookstore at complete last minute, and this book is called The Ghost Book of Charles Linley Viscount Harleflack, a spine-tingling tale from the golden age of the English country house. And if you know me, you probably know that I'm obsessed with ghost stories and thriller type books, hence why I'm super excited for the Halloween season. So I picked this one up in case I ever needed some inspiring ghost reads. So I just really like reading about ghost stories, so that's pretty much my excuse for buying this. The next book is Geraldine Brooks. Oh, that's the author. Okay, it's called People of the Book. I really have no excuse for buying this book other than she's a Pulitzer Prize winner, which caught my attention, and I have seen this book everywhere, and when I read the synopsis, it intrigued me, and it had pretty maps inside, and the cover was pretty, and even my mom was obsessed with this cover when she saw it at the library, and she was like, oh my god, Jessica, get that book. And I was like, I got it. I got you, bro. I got it on my trip at a used bookstore, super cheap. So woo! Okay, so I've showed you 8 books so far, which means I only have 2 left to go, which are both books that I got at airports, and I got them at completely different airports. So on my way to Washington, D.C., we had 2 flights, and on the first flight before I connected on another flight, I read The Sky is Everywhere by Jenny Nielsen, which I did not buy. I actually already own this, but I finished it, so I did not bring a backup book, so I had no other book to read on my next flight. So when we stopped at the next airport, obviously I needed something to read on a 4-hour flight, so I picked up The Gates of Evangeline by Hester Young, and oh my gosh, guys, this book was so good. It was right up my alley. Right the second I saw the cover, I was like, give it to me, I need to read this, because it's a thriller type mystery set in Louisiana about a woman whose son dies, and she gets a job offer to write a book about a mystery that has never been solved 30 years later, and she gets to stay on the manor of where this other little boy disappeared, and it's this huge mystery, and I just love it, and there's so many twists and turns, and it always kept me at the edge of my seat turning the page. And the last book I got was Beastly Bones by William Ritter, a Jacoby novel, because I recently read Jacoby and I wanted the next book in the series, so when I was in the Chicago airport on the way home, I was sure to pick this up when I saw it in the bookstore, even though I had a book to read on the plane, which was Vicious by B.E. Schwab. Those are all the books that I got on my trip to Washington, D.C. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'm Jessie, and I will see you next time. Bye!